know, it's not that much about football. What is a football agent?
What's a football agent?
Yeah.
A football agent, in a nutshell, is someone what organises contracts for between a club and a player. That's it in a nutshell.
Okay.
And does all of that admin stuff and negotiates on the behalf of the player.
Yeah. So how did you become an agent?
Well, I kind of fell into it, to be honest, because initially I was working for a few clubs. I've worked for a few clubs like Watford, Brentford, QPR. You know.
Well, as a scout.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I actually started as it's funny because I started as a coach. I was coaching. I had a thing, what we call a soccer school at the time, you know, for kids and stuff.
Yeah.
And basically, you know, I used to coach them, and then clubs approached me for players.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then I used to just send the kids to various clubs, and I'm saying every club you can think of in London, obviously.
Yeah.
We had a player off me from a young age. So then I kind of, because of my coaching ability, I went to clubs to coach as well. So I coached in clubs for a numerous amount of years. But obviously, my main thing was always the recruitment side. I could always, in my opinion, see a player, as they say, you know, and that graduated into basically scouting.
Yeah.
And after, you know, going through that process at various clubs, you know, at QPR, at Watford, at Brentford, I kind of found what I was good at. And a good friend of mine now today, Sean O'Connor, he was the head of recruitment at Brentford at the time. And he said to me, you know, you've got to make your mind up. Like, you know, you can't swim in both pools. You know, stay in your lane and sort one out and be good at it, basically, and be a bit specific. Don't be a coach, a scout. You know, which one do you really want to do? And I said, hand on my heart, it was basically scouting, because I always knew I could get a player.
Yeah.
I could just see a little bit more not see more than anyone else, but I just had an eye for the game, you know.
So what age were these kids that you were training?
Well,
like, what age range was it?
Initially, it started from the what they call pre-academy.
Yeah.
You know, which means like from 5, 6, 7, 8, going into their first year contract into a club at under 9s. So I've done with various clubs, as I said, QPR, you know, Brentford and Watford as well. So
did you want to be a footballer before?
I played football at a very good level.
Oh, did you? Did you? Who did you play for?
I played for various clubs. I mean, I started at West Brom as like what you call an academy level.
Yeah.
And, you know, I ended up in London as a late teens, you know, and I played mainly semi-pro throughout my career. But yeah, I played for quite a long time, actually. I played to my 30s.
Really? So where are you from originally then? Are you from Birmingham? Birmingham, yeah, okay.
West Brom.
Oh, okay. So yeah, when you say semi-pro, like, did you ever play any like league games? Like, what's the highest level you played at?
Well, Ryman Premier.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I've done all of that stuff. You know, I've done all of the football non-league stuff. You know, played against AFC Wimbledon before they went into the league. You know? And I mean, you're talking like maybe a crowd of about 3,000 people.
Oh, yeah. Okay, all right.
At Wembley, the old Wembley, before they had it.
Really?
Yeah, in a cup competition, you know.
Yeah, so you obviously knew like you know what you're looking for because you played the game yourself. You know what I mean? So it was easy for you to.
I mean, I actually got into coaching because of my daughter, because I was playing semi-pro, and she just came home from school one day and said, "Dad, they're doing trials for football team. Can you take me?" I said, "All right, of course." I went down there. After a period of time, she was actually very good as well. She got scouted by Arsenal women.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and basically the coach, after one season, he said, "I'm leaving. Can you take over?" You know.
Really?
Yeah. So I took over the daughter side for like a season. She would have been about maybe 9, 10, 11, something about 9 or 10.
Was this for Arsenal or was it like for just
this was just for like a Sunday club.
Sunday Club. Oh, okay, yeah.
And then what happened after that, the club said to me, "Look, if you're going to run a girls team, we need you to go and do like your first coaching badge. You know, we know
Yeah.
what you're doing, but we need it to it's got to be official. And they
Yeah.
sent me along on that, and that was it. I just kept going up and up through my coaching badges through there.
Okay, so how did you get approached? What was your first like real job, like when you were properly involved in like youth football? Yeah, professional. Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been QPR.
Okay, so how did that come about? How did they approach you?
Yeah, basically, I knew a guy named Bobby. Can't remember his last name now. Bobby was working for QPR, and he introduced me to Joe Gallen, Kevin Gallen's brother.
Oh yeah.
And what was his name again? Oh, I can't remember his name. But Joe was the assistant academy director at the club.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I landed my first kind of scouting job there with QPR, which I signed a few players. I mean, I've signed a few players there, you know.
So where was you watching the game? So you were a scout. So first of all, you started off as a scout. Like what kind of, would you just go and watch all over the country?
No. I mean, obviously QPR is a regional club, so their budget wasn't like going around the country. It was more like just working locally, really, and a bit of local knowledge. And they'd also give me X amount of games to go and watch. And normally, it'd probably be watching certain leagues like the Harrow League.
Yeah.
You know, various leagues in London. And just basically, that's it really. Just watching the basic leagues in London and creating a database of who's who and what's what and who's winning and who's losing and who's the best players. They needed a striker at the time, QPR, for that age group. It would have been about under 14s, actually. And there was a lad I scouted, Cyrus Vanderpool, and he'll be about 27, 29 now. No, he must be 29, Cyrus, yeah. So he was the very first player I ever scouted. And he went on to pro at QPR. And he done all right.
So did you go and watch just local football in London then, basically, to get these players?
Well, once I saw that lad, Cyrus, he was at a school game, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I brought the head of academy, Gary Waddock, that was his name, Gary Waddock. I said, Gary, blah, there's a game. I really wanted to come and see this player. He came down. Fortunately, Cyrus had a fantastic game that day. He picked the ball up in midfield, dribbled through and smashed one in the top corner. Gary's like, get him in, mate. Get him in. We'll take it. You know, and that was it. I was made after that.
Yeah. So obviously you made one placement, it paid off, and then obviously, what do you do they just go to you, look, we need this player from this position, you go out and find them, basically?
Exactly, because obviously they don't want a team, they just want a specific position from goal.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Throughout the team, you know, and yeah, that's how that worked there. And then obviously from there, I left QPR after about 3 years, and you know, I went into doing my own stuff. Basically, that's where I started my soccer school.
Yeah.
You know what? I think I could develop players quicker if I had more control over it.
Yeah.
Yeah. From there, after that, I went to Watford.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So similar sort of thing, still being a scout on that, yeah?
Yeah, I actually moved up a little bit. I met a good friend of mine today, which is Ozzy Alabanji. He was running the Watford Academy from 16s down, basically.
Okay.
And you know, he gave me a great position. I was a development centre manager, so I had a bit more control because I was bringing in that many players. They couldn't deal with them all, so he gave me somewhere to house them. So we started to do my own, like basically my own centre, my own development centre for Watford as a paid job, and also still scouting as well. So I was becoming a lot more involved, heavily involved. And then he kind of he went over to Brentford as the academy director to run the whole thing. And he said to me, if you want to come over, you're welcome. And I took the opportunity.
Yeah.
And yeah, that worked out really well. As I said. So yeah.
So what? Same thing, or was you more heavily involved this time?
Yeah, I was very much so more heavily involved. I had a lot more control. I was doing development centres every week. I was coaching at the club. And as I said, my colleague and a friend, Sean O'Connor, said to me, look, you're doing a lot. You're probably doing too much.
Yeah.
So they're like, just swim in one lane. And I said, yeah, I'm going to do this. I was going to be a full-time scout then.
Yeah. Okay. So so how did that go from being a scout for you to being an agent?
Well, naturally, you know, I was doing something which was coming naturally to me, which was I'm kind of a people's person.
Yeah.
So I like to work with people. And a bit with the problem with scouting is a little bit like you get one and you move on to the next one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So once they're in and the door's shut and you've done your job, it's like, see you later.
Yeah.
And, you know, and that's it kind of thing. But
Yeah.
I found being an agent is you're going to be working with that person for a
For
long
their career.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Suits
Is
me.
it like I've looked at another podcast, like as an agent, like obviously you're looking after these young lads. Most of them got a lot of money at a young age. Like it's more like you're a father as well as more than an agent.
Well, that's where my, you know, my age comes in a bit more. I got a bit more experience in life. You want to
Yeah.
guide them down the right road. You don't really want them going down the wrong road. So
Exactly.
yeah,
At that age in their life, there's like, especially being a young lad, there's like that age where like you come up to being 16, 17, 18. There's that temptations of alcohol, going out with your mates who aren't footballers. You know what I mean? Like it's really hard to stay focused at that age. You think, you know what I mean?
you've got to wind them back in, haven't you? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So,
So obviously,
yeah.
do you have to keep them on the straight and narrow?
Well, not everyone, but you know, there is a lot of they're people, so they're going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
So in a life lesson, yeah, definitely, you've got to try and keep them on the straight and narrow, you know. And so, yeah, I think in the modern way of doing this job now, I believe you need more man management, really. You can't find someone at 16, 17, 18, 19 and expect them to give them a load of money and then not to go off the rails.
Exactly, yeah.
Age, you wouldn't want to give me that.
Oh, mate.
Story.
Mate, I was an apprentice earning £400 a month and I was spunking it up every weekend. So imagine if I was getting paid brands.
Oh, mate.
Fucking hell.
Visit you in hospital, I guess.
Yeah, you would be, mate. You visit me at the graveyard. Fucking hell. But
so,
yeah, I can imagine, yeah.
The club tries to kind of keep them in check, but if they got the problem is when you got too much time on your hands, you're going to get up to mischief. So
yeah, absolutely.
Positive direction, basically.
So, like in terms of now, like let's say that they're playing for an under-21s team, like some of your players, yeah, or they're playing at they're playing in the National League or something like that. How much do they train per week? Do they still train like?
Yeah, they're still doing. If they're on loan, they're still training as much as if they was at their club.
Yeah. So how long will they train for each day, for instance? Like 4 hours a day, roughly?
Yeah, roughly 4 hours a day, including
that's
football, you know, visiting the physio, whatever it is. They spend more or less. The dedication you have to put in to be a footballer is quite a lot. You know, it's as much as a daytime job. Do you know what I mean? But I would say harder because within the club, you know, you're constantly being scrutinized. You know, it's like there's no ease up for these boys. You know, that's why the stress level's so high. They really need to get scoring, and as you know, there's a lot of talk of psychological damage and stuff like that. You know, people with depression. It's an eye pressure.
I can imagine.
That's why you do 10 years in it, mate. You know, you want to get out, really. Boys who start the game, I mean, from they sign that contract at 9 years old, the pressure's on. You know, it's gone out the window. It's a job from that age, that soon.
That's another thing I was going to ask you about. Sorry, like when it comes, what age is the perfect time for a player to get an agent? Is it as soon as they sign that contract?
Well, it's different courses for different people. Some people are all right. They've got like a big support. You know, being an agent is a lot about being a support system for, you know, if you've got a young player, he's not going to be signing for millions, is he? He's just getting a scholarship, looking to get that pro contract. So that's where someone needs a lot of support going forward.
Yeah.
You know, once they've got that pro contract now, they've still got to get in the first team. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
There's support, really. But yeah, I mean, as I said from the get-go, the initial thing for an agent, the real job, is just to basically sort out their initial, you know, their contract between the club and the player.
Yeah. So like I've read I was looking at Peter Crouch's podcast. His dad was his agent for a while.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, do the parents try and get involved more than you?
Very much.
Sometimes.
We can.
Yeah.
Fair shape. Obviously, listen. I've got kids, and I'd be very concerned who they're getting involved with because, as I said, you've got a corporate world in football as well, which is very cutthroat. It's just
absolutely.
We sign you, and that's it. See you later. Where parents, it's their kid. They got that kind of care factor, and if you don't show the care, they're more about, well, you don't care about my son. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they tend to take that on. They take things a lot more to heart than, it's a business at the end of the day. And
absolutely.
In business, there is no care, right? So you've got to get over it a little bit and just try and just find someone you can work with who's got some care for you, for your kid, and go from there. But that's not always the best person to be doing your contract. Just because I care about your son, that doesn't mean I actually know what I'm doing with your contract.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So for you personally, when you're like, what age do you look for when you approach these players for you to become their agent?
I'll tell you the truth. I am more about personalities.
Yeah.
I mean, look, there's hundreds of players out there. I could have a list this long. I mean, I've got a big background in football, so I know probably a lot of the most best young players out there. But that doesn't mean they're the best person to work with.
Yeah.
You spend a lot of time with these people. You're going to be on the phone. You're going to be visiting them. You're going to be watching their games. You're going to be doing so much. And it's not always that they appreciate that. Because the thing about football, a lot of people tend to look left when they just need to look straight ahead. So they're looking at what mates are doing. What's he getting? But that doesn't mean you're going to get that. Because you're a different. Everybody's case is individual. But I look for personalities who I can work, people I can get on with, and people I can work with, because it's such a long game. It's a long game. If you get, I work with Harry Kane. So if you're going to come and work with me because I'm working with Harry Kane, maybe you're not the right player for me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be. I'm more about the people I work with, and it's a long road. So we got to get on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. So now, for instance, do you have scouts that work for you, or do you go and watch games yourself?
I do all of that because you need a structure. So you need people to recommend players. You can't be everywhere. So
No, exactly. Yeah.
You definitely need scouts out there who are going to give you information. And we've got scouts on board at the company as well. People.
So this is your company your company that you run, or you work for them?
I work for a company.
Yeah. Okay.
So basically, with that, we get intel, we get information. Who's the best player? And we go and watch that person and see if he is the best player. And as he is right now, he might not be in 5 years. And but you've got to know who's the new kid on the block, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So for instance, if you got a name, someone's giving you a name. Oh, this guy's really good. Go down and watch him. Let's say like he has a stinker or has a really average game. Would you go and watch him again?
Oh yeah. You don't make your mind up in one game. You got to see him at least 4 or 5 times to make your mind.
And obviously, as vice versa, you could watch him one game. You could have a blinding game, and then obviously, not be as good.
I've watched players for the whole season.
Oh really?
No, for a few months, 3 or 4 months, and even then, you, as I said, it's about personalities, because if you watch a player when his team's winning, what's he like when his team's losing?
Exactly.
Does he throw a wobbler? Does he get?
Yeah. Does he muck in, kind of thing? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's important. So, how many, say, if you've been given a name, would you watch him for the whole season and then approach him?
Yeah, more or less. I like to. I might be, because you got to remember, in this business, you're gonna, as I said, you're gonna be working with people for a long time. You want to make sure he's got the right characteristics to work with. And then obviously you make contact with the said player, and you want to find out what kind of personality he is, what's the like, and all the rest of it, because it can be more hard work. If you got one player taking up too much of your time, you ain't going to get to deal with the other lads. Yeah,
I can imagine. Yeah. They ever ring you up and fucking ask you like random questions? Like,
it's more, to be honest, as you said, the parents, because they're more nervous than the player half the time. They're not playing, but they've got more anxiety than the players.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I
exactly.
understand why. Don't get me wrong. I totally understand why, because everybody's worried about their little Johnny, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So now you've got these players. Do most of them make it to uh, the end of their career with you, or do they switch agents, or
Well, that
like?
it's all scenarios, you know. You never know
Mm,
until you know.
yeah.
Sometimes you didn't see it coming. And listen, I've seen players. You've worked with players, and you think, yeah, he's all right. He's not bad. He's probably not even your best player, but he's jumped ship
Mm,
to go with someone else. And you're thinking, what happened there? What I didn't see
yeah.
coming. And it's probably because he wanted more attention and he wanted more spotlight on himself.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
But it doesn't mean
So
necessarily that you've done anything wrong. Sometimes
yeah.
just people they're just you're just not for them, are you? So I'd rather somebody leave me at say 17, 18 than leave me when they're in their 20s and they're in the first team.
Yeah. 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 Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So another thing I was going to ask you, this like obviously coming from an outside, if someone don't know much about agencies, when a club wants to sign a player, would they approach you first or the club?
No, well, basically, if you get that player trial in the club, yeah, the club's going
Yeah.
to come back to you and say, look, we like the player you've recommended to us, and yeah, we'd like to sign him.
Mm,
And then you just pass that information back onto the player, and we hit a happy medium at some point. But most of the
okay.
players I kind of look for are already in clubs.
Yeah. That's what I was trying to say. So if you're playing, you've got say, for instance, you've got a player now, he's playing at a club already, and another
Yeah.
club want to sign him. So do they come to you or do they come to the club?
No, they'd have to go directly to the club.
The director of the club, and then the club come to you and you negotiate the contract. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. Once that's been said, and they've made that agreement that the player is going to go to, I don't know, Hull City or
Yeah.
whatever it is. Yeah, we have a chat with Hull City and thrash out the variables, the little details for
Yeah.
whatever pay and whatever details we got to make, whatever arrangements we need to make for the player for his welfare.
So
Happy.
yes. So how do you, the agents, how do you make the money? So do you only get paid once a player signs for another club, or do you get paid from its wages, or
Yeah,
how does it work?
yeah, we get paid. It's not secret. If a player
Yeah.
moves, the agent gets paid.
Yeah.
So obviously you
So
want the player to move, but in the right circumstances. So yeah, if the club buys the player, yeah, we'll get something for the negotiation in that area.
yeah.
We'll
Okay.
get something even if the player stays at the club. It's not as much, but we'll get a percentage of that deal as well. If the player,
Oh really?
if we have to renegotiate, say the player's at the club, the club wants to keep the player, we'll renegotiate a new deal for the player to stay at the said club, and we'll get a commission for that.
Oh okay. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So like, how many players have you personally got on your wing? Do you reckon? Is it a lot? Yeah. Like how many players are you an agent for?
In the club, in the agency itself, we've got
Yeah.
approximately just under 100 players.
But yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm probably responsible for approximately 12 of those players.
Mm.
We've
Have you
got,
got? Have you got Ellery Belgium? Is it you? Is it you?
yeah, he's in our agency. Yeah, he's with us.
Yeah, yeah. I remember that's how I think you added me because I watch a lot of amateur, like not amateur football. Like there's a team. I live in Portsmouth. And there's a team near me called Havant and Waterlooville,
I know them.
and I used to watch them after work. So I worked in the area. Just like I like watching like non-league football. And they played a team called Boreham Wood, which obviously Ellery was. There was a goalkeeper.
Yeah, he was on there at the time.
Yeah, he was. There was the goalkeeper. The game finished 0-0, but this keeper was making the most unbelievable saves, and I thought, "Fucking hell, this guy's good." So I googled him, typed in Boreham Wood goalkeeper, and it was him. He was 18 at the
Yeah,
time. Couldn't believe how young he was,
yeah.
and like he was unbelievable, mate. Like literally, he was too good to be there.
Yeah, well, that's because he was signed with Brentford, wasn't he? He was at Brentford.
Yeah, he
He's
was
still,
on loan from Brentford. Yeah,
he's
yeah.
actually
So I know he's. He's
Doncaster.
playing. Yeah, he's playing first team for Doncaster now. Obviously, they're in the team I support, Portsmouth. They're in our league as well. So
Yeah,
yeah, I've been keeping an eye on him there. But yeah, I watched it, and then obviously I saw he was England's under-18s keeper as well.
yeah.
So I was like, yeah, I think he was really good. Like he's one of those players that you go and watch in a league like that, and you just think, bloody hell, he's like that he's going to be really fucking good when he's older.
Well, that's the idea. So you got to be able to see that you've seen that yourself, and Elliott's development has been like, slowly. He's one of those players I would say he's achieving a lot more than where he's actually at the moment. You know, at 18, you could see it already, as you said. So it's just a matter if he keeps that development going, which on paper he should do. As you know, you just said Doncaster at the moment. He's had some good performances there as well for the club. And experience is going to take him on to the next season where, he's got a big deal at Brentford. He's going to be at Brentford for a good few years. And
what if Doncaster get promoted?
Well, then, he'll go back to Brentford at the end of the season.
Oh, regardless, yeah.
Yeah, regardless, and Brentford will. And then if Doncaster want him back, if they get promoted or not, they can ask the club if they're interested.
I think he saved 2 penalties in his first game for Donny, didn't he?
I think it was his first game, yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, I remember.
That was an interesting game, yeah.
Yeah, I remember watching that. I was like, I remember this keeper. I always keep my eye on him. I followed him on Instagram when I first watched him play. Obviously, we're keeping a little eye on him. Obviously, and everyone's talking about him in League One. Look at this keeper for Doncaster. And now, obviously, they're marching up the table now. They've got games in hand. They're looking in a good position to get promoted.
Yeah, they're looking, but well, and the main thing is, so for him, it's just about his development now. Keep that development going, and then we'll see where he's at the end of the season. Go back to Brentford, and they'll reevaluate what happens next, basically. So yeah, he'll definitely kick on again next season.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think. Would you say, like, obviously at 18 he could have gone and played under 23s football? Like, do you think it's better for a player? In my personal opinion, I think it's better for a player to go on loan to a lower league and play first team football. Well, do you agree?
Obviously, when you saw him at that age, 18, he's still a teenager, and if he's going to play football, that is where he's going to benefit. He also went on to loan in Denmark.
I saw that as well. I saw that. Yeah,
that was another stage in his development. So you could call that like a League Two equivalent to when he went to Denmark. And that's why he's at Doncaster now at League One club. So for next season, ideally, depending on what happens with Brentford, if Brentford go up or whatever, we'd like him to be in a Championship club next season, if possible.
Yeah, I think who's obviously I saw Brentford's keeper. What's his name? Do you know his name again? I forgot his name. Yeah, they're number 1 at the moment.
Yeah, his name's still
that's the problem. He's a really good goalkeeper, so like it's a little bit harder for him to break into the first team.
He might. You never know. He could leave because he's been doing that well. Arsenal were interested in him this season, the Brentford keeper, and basically they. I think it was a close deal. I think they made an offer for him last season. Brentford could be in the Premiership themselves this season. They're doing really well.
Yeah, mate. I'm a big fan of Brentford, to be fair.
Yeah, they lost today, but if Brentford go up next season, I think they're 2nd or 3rd in the league at the moment.
Yeah.
But, if Brentford go up, then obviously, he'll be in the Premier League anyway, won't he?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So that's like, for you, is that like a big gain for you, like your management company being his agent, for him being in the Premier League?
Well, obviously, yeah, we want him to be in the top flight. We want him, our ambition for a player like Ellery is to play as high as he can. Everybody benefits, the company benefits from his profile, and, the kid will benefit from playing in the Premier League, obviously. So, it is where we want him to be. We want all our players to be at the top because we believe in them. You know, we believe in the players. So, at the end of the day, you want him to be at the highest level he can.
Yeah, I think he can do that, but I think the Doncaster move for him was really good because obviously he'll be playing first team football, and League One's not really. It's not. You've got big clubs in there. You've got Sunderland, Portsmouth, Ipswich. Some big teams in there.
I think it's a tough league to get out of because
it is, mate.
Like you just said, you got all the clubs up there. You just mentioned, and they're not small clubs. They're massive clubs.
Yeah.
In your club, Portsmouth, they're not a small club.
No, well, mate, we still sell out League One games every week.
There you go. It's not, and you're coming up against, I would say, in league football, there's more goals scored in League One football than there is in most leagues. There's a lot of action going on, you know. So we definitely learn a lot from being in there. I think, you know, I was speaking to him not so long ago, just a few days ago, and he was saying to me basically, you get so much more action. He does more saves and whatever in a game in League One than you're actually going to do maybe in the Premier League, believe it or not.
Yeah, you're a lot more busier in League One. Yeah,
because basically the defenders, you know, it's a bit of up and down situation where players are really, really top, or they're just like very average. And it's not like in the Premier League, everybody's just fantastic, right?
Yeah.
It's sussed out a lot easier if you got a chink in your armour. But in League One, you know, it's like that. So, you know,
anyone could beat anyone in that league. That's what I've always said, literally. So, as I said, like you got big.
Doncaster played Lincoln, they beat them, and yet they go and play a team like Accrington Stanley and they lose. So and they're about 10th position. So it's mad. It's crazy.
We'll beat like Sunderland, Ipswich, and then today we lost to Blackpool. You know what I mean? That's and we didn't have one shot on target either.
The manager the assistant manager Joe Gallen, he was my boss for Portsmouth. That is
really,
yeah. He was my director at QPR.
Is he the one that looks like Ricky Hatton?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I've known Joe for a long time, and you know, I still speak to him today.
Yeah. Have you ever met Kenny Jackett before?
Kenny Jackett was also at QPR when I was there, but yeah, he was at QPR as well. So Kenny was a part of that system as well. But I wasn't like pally with him as much as Joe. I work a lot closer with Joe, so you know, I still got his number. I can still pick it up. He hasn't changed it for donkeys.
Do you reckon get him on? Do you reckon I'll get him on the podcast?
I don't know if he's got time, but
ask him. Oh, mate, at the moment you won't have time. No, well, we lost again today, and the thing is with Pompey, we go on really good runs, and then we just capitulate at the end of the season. Like it's been the story of us for the last few seasons. We've been in League One, I think, for about 4 years now.
I know.
As I say, it's a really tough league to get out of.
To get it right in League One, I remember when you bought Ollie Hawkins.
Yeah, Ollie, yeah.
So that's I mean, Ollie Hawkins, I've known Ollie since he was about 15. His dad used to be a manager in the non-league. And Ollie Hawkins never played any football in academy. He just played straight football, men's football from 16 years old.
He was working on site when he was 17. I saw a picture of him in a high vis top.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's crazy, isn't it? Like how he could be playing at Wembley against Sunderland, score the winning penalty. Like how he came from like having a normal job to like playing at that level in such a short period of time.
So he played men's football at 15 years old, if I remember rightly. I think he was playing...
Well, he started at 15?
Yeah, roughly 15, 16. He was already playing with men.
Bloody hell.
He just rose through the ranks. You know, I remember him playing at various non-league clubs. And then, obviously, I spoke to his dad when he was playing for, I think it was Dagenham and Redbridge, or one of those clubs.
Yeah, Dagenham and Redbridge, yeah.
Yeah, and I spoke to his dad about, you know, I think Scunthorpe was interested in him then. I was mentioning it to his dad, but obviously he ended up with you guys.
Yeah, he was good. I was a big fan of him, obviously. He's fucking tall.
He's moved on.
He plays at Ipswich now.
Yeah, he's gone to see he's moved on again. So
yeah, exactly, yes.
The Championship player, right?
Well, they're still in League One.
League One. So, yeah, well.
yeah. But yeah.
You know,
so yeah.
Could be.
And also he's playing first, but back then he was more of a sub. Now he's playing first team football. So good on him, I say. Like he's done well for Pompey. I'm pleased what he's done for us.
Yeah.
So I wish him all the best, really. Yeah. So yeah, there's that. What was I going to say? Yeah. So back to the agency thing. What's your say Monday to Friday? Do you work Monday to Friday, or was it like constantly 24/7?
There's no time limit on this job.
Yeah, I can imagine.
7, mate. So you can't. It's not 9 to 5. You know.
Yeah.
I think people would like it to be 9 to 5, but you know, players they finish football at. You know, I mean, I spoke to one of the lads last night. about 9 o'clock. I spoke to another lad at about 12 o'clock. Do you know what I mean? So
Mm.
there's no time.
So what do you do? Do you go to an office, or do you just like work from your mobile phone kind of thing?
Yeah, both. It's remote working, or we do go in the office for meetings and whatever. It's there.
Yeah.
Obviously, at this present moment, we're not going into the office as much because of
Well, obviously,
and all that. So yeah,
that's another thing I was going to ask. Like, has it made it more harder for you to do your job, this pandemic thing? Because obviously, they're only playing like top flight football at the moment, aren't they?
yeah. We've just had to address basically, and work remotely and do more Zoom calls.
Can you? Yeah, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Ever.
So now during the pandemic, what's your, like, say for instance, Monday morning, like what's your routine?
It just depends really. Monday's usually a busy day because you're probably getting in contact with people from, like Sunday's pretty much of an off day for most people. But
Yeah.
days when you catch up with people are for what happened on the weekend. So you either talk.
Oh yeah.
Mainly you try and catch the clubs, because once you get them in the morning, especially Monday morning, before they get started for the rest of the day. After Monday afternoon, Monday evening, forget it. You won't get anybody. But yeah,
really?
Monday morning is pretty hectic because you can catch people in the morning. After that, you probably won't speak to them again until Wednesday when they have a day off, if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
It's just about learning how people's patterns are,
Yeah.
But yeah, we don't have a set time.
So is it true you need a license to become an agent?
Yeah.
You do. So what's it called?
You've got a couple. You got the FA intermediate. So, i.e., you have to register with the FA. You pay a amount of money for that preference.
Yeah.
And basically, so the FA's got a track of who's doing what. You can't have too many rogue people just acting as a fake agent,
That's what I'm saying. Would you say there's a lot of crooks out there in terms of agents?
It's not got the best, because of those people doing that.
Agents haven't got the best reputation, have they?
Yeah, exactly. So the reputation goes downhill because people do things illegally, basically.
Yeah.
Not in the FA rule book.
Yeah. So that's also the thing I was going to ask. Like, do you think like you're scrutinising away? Like when you tell someone your agent, do you think? Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry. Do you think like, if people think I'm an agent, people think like I'm some fucking crook kind of thing? You know what I mean? Obviously.
I mean, look, in football, I ain't being funny, but it's like this: people need you when they haven't got something. So if they need a club or they need a move, they're going to need an agent, right?
Yeah.
But if they're all hunky-dory and they've got everything going for them, they might give you the cold shoulder. But generally, we are needed very much so. I mean, look, we don't just work with, we work with clubs as well. So clubs, most of us will have contacts for clubs. We've got relationships with those clubs, and their clubs, they might want, I don't know, a player from whatever, another club. They want to know, are you working with that player? Is he interested to us?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's how it pretty much works. It's all about relationships, really.
Yeah. And final thing, do you enjoy what you do?
I love it, to be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're involved in a sport you like, you love.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It keeps you out of trouble.
Yeah, I can imagine, yeah.
But
So look,
it makes your day, it's rewarding when you see someone coming through and you've helped that person to better their career.
Exactly, I can imagine, yeah.
All the way, obviously. I mean, ultimately, you want that success story. I mean, someone like Raheem Sterling, for instance, who came from, QPR, goes to Liverpool, and he's a success today. Let's face it. And he's worked with people to get there. It just hasn't happened by accident.
Yeah,
It's been a bit of a journey, and he's been supported through that journey.
Yeah.
And
so
coming up to like nearly, he's not at the end of his career, but he's coming towards the end part now. He's over 25.
Yeah. It's at his peak now, isn't he? He's hit his peak.
He's more at his peak. He's at the highest he'll be.
Well, mate, yeah. Big fan of Sterling, by the way. So, by the way, who do you support?
I'm a Man United fan.
Oh, okay. Are you getting on with United this season? You think you Ollie in?
Am I pardon?
Are you Ollie in?
I'm Ollie in. I think he's doing a job and he's keeping the peace. You
Yeah,
know,
I think so.
it's massive and basically there's a lot of ego to deal with, and he's keeping
Mm.
everybody happy. And that's the name of the game: is keeping people happy, keeping them, from spitting their dummies and throwing a wobbler.
Mate, they could be doing a lot worse. You know what I mean? They're second in the table. All right, they're not. They're a few points of City, as is everyone else. But like, I think he's done a good job. I can't knock him.
And I think
Yeah,
there's room for improvement. So
always. Yeah,
he's patched it up a little bit by bringing in certain players to patch up the forward line and stuff like that. But if he can get the right forwards in, and a new defender in, it's a different team. If he gets what happened to Liverpool when they got Van Dijk, that changed the team.
yeah, absolutely, mate, absolutely.
So, and look at Liverpool now without Van Dijk.
That's it. The thing is, I'll say with Klopp though, like, did he not expect him to get injured at some point? Did he not have like some kind of backup plan?
I think Klopp's like the old-fashioned manager. He likes 11 players he can rely on.
And that's the problem.
He's never going to have a squad where he's got two Van Dijks, is he? If you know what I mean. So certain managers can manage that, but Klopp's not that guy. So, but yeah, I think with Ollie, going back to United, I think if he can, get someone in for the defence, a serious defender, and get in a good striker, he'll be in business.
Oh mate, yeah. As soon as they signed Bruno Fernandes, they looked like a different team. Like that was just one player, and I think they just need a player like that.
Yeah, they get that one player at the back, centre back.
Mate, there'll be a.
Don't get me wrong. Players around there now at the moment are doing really well. Rashford and Anthony up front, but I think they need support. You can't put all the weight on the players' shoulders.
Yeah, you got like Lindelof and Maguire at the back, and like obviously
you got to spread out a little bit. You got to spread out the responsibility. And I think if you look at Fergie always knew how to manage his players. That's why when you got Rooney, Ronaldo, all these names in the team, he could manage them all. It was a no-brainer, wasn't it? And you don't
absolutely.
So that's where Ollie is. He's been there for a season and a bit. I think next season, if he can get what he wants in, I think they'll be in business.
I think they will be, yeah. I think they just need to stick by Ollie for another season because he's doing a really good job for the players he's got. Yes, he needs to make some improvements, as you said, at the back. But I think up top, like, they look pretty fucking good. Like, can't really...
They brought in the lad from Paris Saint-Germain and basically he's just for the season, isn't he? He's up.
But as I say, he's done really well. Cavani's done. But he's just one of them players that can just get you a goal from nothing.
But we need him to be about 25, 20, not.
Yeah, yeah, that's the problem.
It's not a long term. It's not a long term thing. It's a short term fix. You get them, keep them where they need to be. But we need Cavani at 20, 22, 25 years old. That's what we need. We don't need him to be 30 odd. He should be on the wheelchair list, really. He should be out of it.
Exactly, mate.
Cracking the whip and getting a bit more out of him.
Yeah. All right. Well, mate, I think that's pretty much it, to be honest with you. Is there any last things you want to say about being an agent or what people might think of you that you want to address?
I don't know what people might think of me, but no, I'm happy with that. That's fine, Jack. It's gone well.
Mate, I had a good chat with you, mate. It's good, yeah. I enjoyed it.
If that's it, mate, that's it. But yeah, I ain't got nothing else to say, to be fair.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
It's not me.
Yeah, mate, it's been a good chat. I've asked you all the questions that I want to know, that people want to know. I'll put it out there to the people that follow me, like, what questions do you want me to ask him? Like, just normal questions that people would have about an agent. I think we cover that pretty well.